In this video, you are going to learn one beautiful trap that involves a queen sack, or rather a queen sacrifice if you may. I'm so excited to show you this, guys, and this will demonstrate the power of possessing a photographic memory in chess. You will also learn the importance of solving chess puzzles and mastering positions. In this game, I was playing against a 2307 rated opponent by that name on the screen, Alamag, and of course this was a 1-minute rated bullet match, so don't expect to see accurate moves all the way through. I just want you guys to appreciate the art of attacking in chess. So as white, I started with pawn to e4, the king's pawn game, and my opponent responded with pawn to c6, the Caro-Kann defense. Then I played pawn to d4, standard move, controlling the center of the board. My opponent played pawn to d5. Then what did I do? Knight c3. Oh, why? So with this move, my idea was to take on e4 with my knight and wait for knight f6 so that I could take as well. But my opponent played bishop f5. Wait a second, let's go back a little bit. My initial plan was, in case black played knight f6, I was just going to take. And oftentimes, black takes back with the e-pawn, paving the way for the dark squad bishop. After this, I was simply going to continue with the following moves. Knight f3, if bishop d6, I would have played bishop d3, and after castle shot, I would have played pawn to h4, allowing this check to happen so that I could put my king on f1. This is a strategic move, by the way, inviting bishop g4, pin on the queen. I run into this variation very often, and this is where I sacrifice on h7 with my bishop. Point is, after king takes, I follow it up with knight g5, and after pawn takes, I take back with my h pawn. This is check. So that after king g8, I then follow it up with queen takes g4, intending to go queen h5 and mate. Most of my opponents here play queen e7. Now wait a second, if you just go ahead and play queen h5, you're going to get mated. So it is important to play bishop d2 first, also avoiding this. Also paving the way for your rook, right? Now see, I've seen a lot of people playing queen e4 in this position in an effort to exchange queens, but after queen h5, there's a checkmate pending. Most of my opponents here play king f8, after which I play rook e1 and they end up resigning because there's nothing they can do to prevent checkmate unless they just give up the queen. So this is what I intended to do to my opponent. But back on move number 4, my opponent played bishop f5 instead of knight f6. So bishop f5. At this point, I started thinking of the two knights attack which we play against the Caro-Kann, and that's where we go knight g3 attacking that bishop. Most people play bishop g6, which my opponent played, and then I played pawn to h4 immediately. The idea is just to go pawn to h5, trapping that bishop. Somehow, my opponent played pawn to h6, again the top played move, and what did I do? I played h5. There's a reason. After bishop h7, I then played knight f3, and my opponent played knight d7. But let's just make some random moves here. I just want to show you one cool trap that lies in this line. You see, this video is supposed to be full of traps, right? I don't want to make it boring for you guys. Say, if black played knight f6, I was going to play bishop c4. This is what I intended to do. And say after something like pawn to e6, I'm just making random moves, I was going to play queen e2. This is my own repertoire, not the best thing in this world, but it works. And let's just say bishop e7, a random move, I was going to play knight e5. There are times when my opponents play knight bd7. By the way, no need to take on d4. This will just be a sheer waste of time due to knight takes. This is what I visualized when I played knight g3. Back on move 5. Point is, after king takes, I was going to take with my queen on e6, and if king f8, I was going to checkmate. If king e8, believe it or not, I saw this line because I've played this a number of times. I was simply going to sacrifice my bishop on h6. Point is, if pawn takes, that was going to pave the way for my rook, and there is nothing black was going to do in this position. There was going to be checkmate. For example, queen that, mate in one. Anyway, after pawn to h5 and bishop h7, I said I played knight f3, and instead of knight f6, which was going to allow me to do whatever I just showed you, my opponent played knight d7, probably stopping knight e5. But I still played bishop c4, and they played pawn to e6, played queen e2, preparing for the same idea that I just showed you, and then my opponent played knight gf6. Anyways, I still played knight e5 because I wanted to sacrifice my knight on f7, that little trick which I showed you. But my opponent played the top played move, which is knight takes. I took back with my pawn, also attacking that knight. Then knight d7 was played. A more popular move is knight d5. In this position, this is what most people play. After this, maybe I was just going to cast a shot and continue with life. You see, every game of chess has two sides, just like every coin. If your trap or your dirty tricks fail to work, play position the chess, develop all your pieces to their most potential squares, and attack later in the middle game. It's not just about delivering quick checkmates or impressing your spectators. Anyway, my opponent didn't play knight d5. They played knight d7 after I took back on e5. So they played knight d7 like that, and then I followed it up with bishop e3. I do admit that this was a blunder. By the way, don't forget this was a 1-minute bullet match, but I still had a plan. At worst, I wanted to castle long, involving my a rook into the game. At best, I just wanted to improve my rook, also castling. But anyway, my opponent played the best move according to Stockfish, queen a5 check, to punish my mistake. This is why this move was a blunder. Bishop e3. They didn't even have to take immediately with their knight. I played pawn to c3, a walk of shame, and after queen takes, I simply castled long. You can see this was my initial plan. Now, one lesson you're going to learn from this game is the difference between engine advantage and human advantage. Just because Stockfish evaluates a certain position as bad for you, it doesn't mean that your opponent also thinks like that. Humans have their own way of thinking. So even at this stage, I was very comfortable to continue playing because in my mind, I was convinced. I knew that my opponent was not Stockfish. Anyway, my opponent castled long as well. And then I played queen f3. Now hold on. When I reached this position, I remembered one queen sacrifice that I started a long time ago in a random chess puzzle on Lichess. If I may recall well, that queen sacrifice occurs in the Scandinavian defense. You are going to see what I did to my opponent's soul from here. They played bishop c5, and then I simply played bishop f4. At this point, I was very much convinced that I was going to checkmate my opponent in 2 after they played queen f6. I give you 10 seconds for you guys to find the best continuation from here, which I automatically played in 1 second. The time starts now. I guess you guys found the correct move in this position, which is queen takes c6. That's a very cold-blooded move, and believe it or not, I was able to find this move in 1 second because of my photographic memory that I have developed over the years in chess. And this is why I beg you guys most of the times to solve a lot of chess puzzles, because some of these things keep on repeating over and over. Chess positions and variations repeat themselves. I don't know if that's the right way to put it, but positions and structures tend to become relatable as you solve a lot of chess puzzles. The only move for black in this position is pawn takes queen, after which I delivered bishop s6 checkmate. How cool was that? Anyway, now let me show you my source of inspiration with this. And hey, if you really care about this channel and want to see us grow, simply head over to the homepage and click the subscribe button. Also, don't forget to turn on the bell notification icon for all my content. That way you won't miss any of my future uploads. Lastly, to get this free study PGN that I'm using in this video, simply scroll all the way down to the comment section and click the first link that you see, which will redirect you to a page that will ask you to subscribe before getting this PGN for free. And that will look like something like this. Right. Okay, so the game that we are looking at is one that was played between a very strong player, Esteban Canal, in the year 1934 in Budapest against some unknown chess player, because this was a simultaneous match. So white started with pawn to e4 and d5 by black. The right continuation here, which I recommend, is e takes d5, and queen takes d5 is by far the most played move in the Masters database and in the Lichess database. So here you just continue with knight c3 attacking the queen, and after queen a5, which again is the top played move, as you have seen by the highlighted arrows, pawn to b4 from here leads to the Leonard gambit. I also covered this gambit in the video that has popped up in the card above, but again we are playing a normal game here, and so I just recommend you go pawn to d4. You see your opponents playing pawn to c6, which is the second top played move in the Masters database and in the Lichess database. The whole idea of c6 is just to pave way for the black queen in case of any danger, and here the normal way of playing against the Scandinavian defense is just to develop the king's knight to f3. I mean, most of my students know that I do preach about this opening principle all the time, at least in all my courses, where I advise my students to develop their knights first before the bishops. And so after knight f3, you're going to see them playing bishop g4, just making use of the pin, because that's what they were taught how to play. And you can see that in the Scandinavian defense, black develops his queenside pieces very fast as compared to his kingside pieces, which is why you will see them most of the times castling long and not castling short. Anyways, after bishop g4 pinning your knight to the queen, I recommend you don't even attend to this pin right here because it is temporal. Just go ahead and develop your dark squared bishop to f4, or why starting with the dark squared bishop instead of the light squared bishop? Well, what I want you guys to be doing against the Scandinavian is that I want you to be castling long most of the time, since black also castles long in most of these games. And so that's why we want to start developing the queenside pieces first before we touch anything from the king side. Well, of course, apart from the knight on f3. So black plays pawn to e6, and theory here says play pawn to h3. Yes, bishop e2 is also playable, but pawn to h3 is more forcing before developing the light squared bishop. Why? Let me show you why. Because here we are anticipating the move bishop h5, which allows us to start attacking from the king side right away, taking advantage of this bishop on h5, and after bishop g6 we keep on marching forward, h4 intending to go h5. By the way, in this position we do not have any threats coming to the queen side, and this is where we are also intending to castle long. Not to mention that if black plays bishop a3, which is an engine move, and I don't think anyone is gonna play that against you. Yeah, but we have bishop c1 and the problem is solved, and we'll continue marching, advancing our pawns on the king side. So you're not going to see this move. This is an engine move. I just wanted to cover that just in case. But anyways, you just played pawn to h4, intending to go h5. You will see black responding with pawn to h6, creating a space for the light squared bishop. And this is where we play knight e5, attacking the light squared bishop once again. If black allows, we'll take this light squared bishop and mess up black's pawn structure on the king side. So they'll play bishop h7, and here we play knight c4, attacking the black queen. In case you are wondering, position is about +2 in favor of white, which is suffice to win the game. Oh, the queen only has one safe square, which is d8. For example, if they play queen a6, we have knight d6 check, and at the same time a discovery on the black queen. Therefore, that's why we play pawn to h3 before developing the light squared bishop in order to reach a position such as this one. Hence, to avoid this deadly attack, you will see most advanced players playing bishop takes f3 on move number 7 instead of bishop h5. Let me just show you. So we just developed our second knight just like I advised, and black took advantage of that. Then instead of unblocking the pin, we decided to develop the dark squared bishop because we have plans to quickly castle long. Then black played e6, and instead of again unpinning our knight, we decided to play pawn to h3, and we just noticed how bad bishop h5 is, which is a positional mistake at master level, and that's why you're going to see most of your advanced opponents playing bishop takes on f3, which is what we want. And after this, I just recommend you just take back with the queen. And it's good to mention again that black won't castle short in most of these games because of the upcoming pawn storm that we have. We're gonna develop our bishop on d3, castle long, life goes on, no pressure. Here you will see most of your black opponents playing bishop b4, taking advantage of another pin. I mean, that's what they were taught. So here I just recommend you don't attend to this pin again, just play bishop e2. So you can see what we are doing here. We are not even attending to any of these pins. By the way, bishop e2 gives us an option to either castle short or castle long. So knight d7, preparing to castle long. Here I just recommend that you don't even castle. So that's another secret I'm telling you in the Scandinavian defense. Precisely in this line, don't castle. Just play pawn to a3, just like the way you did here. Or after pawn to a3, black is not scared of this pawn because he knows that this pawn is pinned to the rook E.g. black knows that if you take his bishop, he will take your free rook on a1, which is why they are not even going to do anything about this bishop. You are going to see them castle long, and this is where this epic trap begins, because right here you will do the unexpected a takes b4, completely giving up your rook on a1, because after queen takes on a1 check, you simply go king d2, indirectly attacking the black queen. For example, after queen takes h1, this is where white uncocked an evil move that almost made my eyes to pop out from the sockets, and so I give you 3 seconds to find the killer move in this position, which ended the game on the spot. Let's go. Okay, 1, 2, 3, here we go. I guess you found this move. Queen takes on c6, and it turned out that the black king cannot escape because the b8 square is also covered by our dark squared bishop. The only option is for black to take our queen, and that's how we met on a6 checkmate. When last did you see such a thing happen in chess? You know, chess is so dynamic. This is why I keep on telling my students that chess is not a game. You guys, chess is an art which must involve a lot of creativity in order to stand out. Chess is an art where the best artist has to draw a better picture in order to beat the rest. And so I have so much lovely ideas to offer in my courses. You can check the link for my website in the description down below, where you can purchase all my courses at very affordable prices. Not to mention that if at all you are enjoying this video, consider giving it a thumbs up. Don't just watch, and remember to subscribe to my channel, because that encourages me to keep on making more wonderful content just like this one. And hey, want to take your chess seriously? Simply head over to the comment section down below and find a special link to my courses that you should click. You will be redirected to my Patreon page, where you can access all my wonderful courses. By the way, that's how you support this channel, right?